Airbnb has materially failed to innovate, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing with their changes in policies lately. And let me catch you guys all up. Airbnb has a winter release and they have a summer release, and every 6 months they try to push the envelope and stay at the front of this like home sharing world and create new features and cool stuff. And instead, these last few releases have been really thin. They haven't done a lot to materially make the world a better place in the world of home sharing. And instead, they've come up with these policies that say that, we can't ask for guest information, we can't get their ID unless we're using something like Guesty, we can't remarket to people, we can't attempt to get somebody off platform. Instead, Airbnb is largely trying to legislate away our ability to run a multi-channel business. And if Airbnb wasn't scared, they would just be innovating. But because Airbnb stopped innovating, they are too scared, and that's why they're trying to do this to us. Let me give you kind of the history. When Airbnb was new, they had a value proposition which was stay with a host, private room, right? It was cheaper than hotels. That was their main thing. They didn't have to do much. They were the price leader. Then they needed host adoption. So what did they do? They gave us really cool widgets. The widgets that they gave us are things like Pro Tools or the multi-calendar, or now what we call Air Cover, and this platform that makes it easy to list, easy to market, easy to communicate, easy to get reviews, easy to do resolutions. They created a sticky platform for hosts. And they tried to do the same thing for guests, right? They tried to make it where you could have wish lists to save your favorite properties. And now they made them shared wish lists so groups can vote on which properties that they like. And of course, they've got Superhost and guest favorites and things to try to build trust in the travel community. And then they've got categories, so you can window shop and look at castles or find a place with a grand piano. But largely, Airbnb's absence of real guest widgets was because they've always leaned on the effort of hosts, right? Hosts would make a product worth staying in. At the end of the day, Airbnb's whole entire platform is we have places to stay that you're gonna like to stay in. All the extra like embezzlements, right? Like the categories or the wish lists are just easier ways to find the right places. But now the truth is the right places are multi-channel. And if Airbnb really wanted to stay in this game, if they really wanted to stay a big player, they would continue to innovate and create more solutions for guests, more widgets for guests, and more widgets for hosts. They would do a better job of keeping the lion's share of traffic on Airbnb if they wanted the best listings to stay on Airbnb. That is really the core of their issue. So I think what Airbnb should do this following year is do advertisements. Like, remember when VRBO did it during the Super Bowl? They ran a Super Bowl ad, and the next thing you know, 50% of our listings were VRBO booked. People were just using VRBO instead of Airbnb. I think that Airbnb should find a way to allow people to run a more integrated multi-channel strategy, direct booking, everything else, where Airbnb holds your hand as you build a whole business, right? Instead of trying to prevent you from building it, they hold your hand as you build the business. So what happens is their technology could be more central integration to it all, kind of like we use Guesty now, right? If Airbnb would just take the leap of faith and say, hey, you're a brand new host, you've never been on the platform before, list your house. Now, let's help you connect to make your own website and everything else so you can start to get bookings through your own means and efforts. Then Airbnb's technology would be just more implanted into the whole campaign, right? Which would then make Airbnb more sticky. If you can't beat them, join them, right? Airbnb should have educational products on how people can make their listings more attractive, even outside of Airbnb. They should educate people on how SEO works. They should educate people on how ad spend works, ad campaigns. So if people want to run ads to push their Airbnb property, they could do so profitably, and that would work for Airbnb in the back end. These are things that I think Airbnb should be doing, but they're not. And Airbnb is suffering now because they lack innovation. I really want to open this up for a conversation to see what you guys think, if you guys agree with me on this. And I do think one of the other halves of the conversation is Airbnb's absence to mitigate the fact that guests don't have a reason to book on Airbnb anymore, right? So by keeping hosts loyal to Airbnb, that is one path. You can make it so all the good supply is on Airbnb, and if you control all the good supply, guests can't go to VRBO because the good stuff's on Airbnb, right? If they could control that loyalty, they would win. But in the absence of being able to control that loyalty, because Marriott's got their own platform now, these huge houses in Park City, Utah, there's no way they're only going to be on Airbnb, because people on VRBO book a year in advance. And that's money in the bank, right? Especially when you have Stripe or your own like payment processors, you get the money for those listings, like the down payment money right away. If you take 50% of a reservation 8 months in advance, that's cash in your pocket that you can actually use on your business, be it that you manage your cash appropriately so that way you can handle any chargebacks or refunds. But that's materially different than what Airbnb does. Airbnb doesn't give us the float, they run the float. So of course we're gonna use VRBO for things that have a long lead time because we wanna run the float, right? So in the absence of this stuff, what is Airbnb gonna do to get guests to prefer Airbnb? That's the question that they need to ask. What is Airbnb gonna do to get people to be, I'm loyal to Airbnb and I don't like booking on VRBO. I don't like booking through Priceline. And Airbnb used to have some angle on this, which was private rooms, but they are in an absolute lacking of anything significant that makes somebody want to book on Airbnb. The category section is really just window shopping, right? Oh, look at these castles, look at this stuff. Oh, these are so pretty. Who's gonna book a castle? Who's really booking a castle, right? And out of all the volume that Airbnb needs to run their operations, like window shopping for castles and tree houses is not what gets Airbnb booked. At the end of the day, there's a lot of functional people that are in town for, like here in Dallas, right? I've got properties that are in downtown Dallas, and people are like, how far are you from the Katie Bailey Hutchinson Center? Because we're here for cheer event, or we're here for some sort of other event. Those people are not window shopping for a treehouse. And what can Airbnb do to give those guests the type of unified trust experience that makes them want to book on Airbnb always? Because they try to like ping us hosts, like if we canceled, they would charge us 50% of the money for the cancellation. But they don't give that money to the guests. They're largely pocketing that stuff, claiming that it's rehousing expenses that they really never give to the guest. And their guest favorites hasn't really done much. Airbnb, is like just trying to remove hosts from the platform? Is that what they're doing now? Their non-circumvention policy and their like hyper like militant approach to review removal and stuff to just remove all the bad listings. But I think that Airbnb should give guests and hosts more communication, more transparency between each other. They should allow guests to ask for video of the property or ask guests to be able to go to the property, because that's something they're keeping us from doing now. We can't tour guests at our property technically, because that would be an attempt to off-platform. Airbnb needs to give guests more confidence that a listing that was listed 4 years ago is still good today. And they need to be able to give more of a connection between the hosts and the guests. There needs to be more relationship there. I think Airbnb needs to do a better job fostering relationship, and for hosts, fostering a multi-channel business strategy where Airbnb is integrated. That's my thoughts for the day, guys. It was my birthday a couple days ago, and ever since I turned 39, all of a sudden I have allergies. So I'm here, sitting here like trying to survive this Texas hay fever season. It's crazy. And now it's been for you though too. Since it's my birthday, I've decided to let my team give away free Airbnb property to everybody who joins Cracking Soup Roast. So if you join Cracking Soup Roast, you can have an Airbnb property for free. Not like a $10,000 per month luxury mansion, but like I think we're maxed out like on $4,000 per month, like holding cost properties, I think. But you'll get one for free in the month of May. That's our promo. There's a link for Cracking Soup Roast down below. And I will be announcing the dates for our next pricing strategy webinar soon. Because, a lot of you guys are here for price. So we're going to announce that here soon. Thanks. 2 hair surgeries in, and it's starting to look right. So don't tell anybody, or tell everybody. I did it in Cancun. With that said, guys, I was training a new housekeeper yesterday, and I think something you guys might like to know is even housekeepers with like commercial cleaning training, like our commercial cleaning experience with this lady that I trained yesterday, she's been a cleaner for years. Taking her through our 5-step cleaning system, there's so much to her that she's like, that should have made sense to me. Why did that not make sense? Why didn't I get that, right? Like, she put the pillows on the ground and tried to put the pillows into pillowcases on the ground, and she didn't vacuum the floor. And she's like, and I was like, hey, pro tip, don't do that. She's like, oh my God, you're right. Why did I just do that, right? There's these little things. And so that means you're hiring housekeeping companies that don't know how to clean Airbnbs, that you don't know for sure are good at this, and you're trusting them because they say that they're housekeepers. How many of you hired a photographer who's a real estate photographer, and then they gave you photos and you think that they're good because they're edited well, but they're missing key photos, and you guys don't even know that they're missing photos. It's because when we don't know enough about the industry to know who's BSing us or who's actually kind of mid, we think people are good because they're better than us. So if any of you are gonna run an Airbnb business and hire a photographer to photograph your listings or hire a housekeeper to clean your property, you should know enough about both to know who's not doing a good enough job. And so the main thing that I think this commercial cleaning lady didn't really understand was that we have to break up our business model into cleaning and wellness check and inspection. So the very first two steps of our housekeeping system are inspecting the home for rips, damages, theft, things that need to get replaced, and then we do our cleaning, and then you will either bring an inspector in, and I've got a new model for remote inspection, which we can talk about one day, but right now it's just private for Cracking Super Roast, or they can self-inspect. And for our smaller apartments, we teach our housekeepers to do a self-inspection. And the way that her brain, you can see her wheels turning, processing the way that we do a self-inspection, she's like, this seems so alien and I've been cleaning for 5 years. So I really just want to warn you guys, when you hire a housekeeper, you probably want to make sure that they know what they're doing, because she didn't, at least for a little while. So hotel cleaners will be close because they get the final product point, but a hotel cleaner still doesn't know all the nuance because a hotel doesn't have 2.5 bathrooms. It doesn't have beds that you can get under. It doesn't have all the knickknacks and all the cool stuff. Like, so yeah, a hotel cleaner understands the concept of turnover and staging and prep, but they don't understand self-inspection because they have an on-staff inspector with a clipboard that goes through the whole hotel and actually checks people's work. So yeah, a hotel cleaner won't understand the self-inspection part either. So good bringing that one up. So guys, hit me with your requests on what you would like to learn. This summer is going to be really fun. I think that a lot of people got their butts kicked. This summer is going to be really cool. We've had people who've been unloading properties, not people of mine, but I've had students buying out other people who've been unloading properties. And it's been a really cool phase because these people who are unloading have these junk properties that just weren't furnished well, weren't run well, and we could identify the gaps in them. And my students are buying out these properties on the cheap. We're making some very small changes to the way that these things were designed or how they're running, and they're profitable, like instantly profitable. So this whole like post-bust, post-winter, people are just unloading because they're disheartened. There's a lot of opportunity to get into the space at a discount. And that's something that on Cracking Super Roast we've been seeing over the last couple of months. We've got a deal in Nashville where a guy's selling 8 really good properties at like a really steep discount, circumstantially, and we've gone through the numbers and we're like, there's very little wrong with these things. He just probably didn't understand pricing strategy. He just didn't understand how like lead time affects occupancy and group sizes, and he just like materially approached his occupancy strategy wrong and just didn't make enough money, so now he wants out. Stuff's really cool. Please, in the comments, let me know what other videos you'd like to learn. It's about time we do some more heavy hitting, like value content. So, but please also let me know what you guys think about Airbnb's lack of innovation. And if you have ideas of what Airbnb could do, they watch this video, I'm sure. So help them out with some ideas. Thanks for hanging out with me on a rainy Friday here in Dallas. And I'll see you guys on the other side.